Hey everyone, Egman here with another video. Today we're going to talk about the top 16 for the ARG Summer Invitational that happened this past weekend. It was a really big event, like over 200 people, 241 it looks like, and just great. And it's really like the first big tournament since kind of like a set dropped, more or less, right, between the anniversary box and the World Martial Art tournament stuff. So that's really cool. It unfortunately doesn't look like there's a bunch of things that from those sets that really was in these top 16, but there were some, and in general, I feel like the meta was super diverse. If you look at this, we had what 9 different leaders in the top 16, which is fantastic. 5 of them being Shenron, 3 of them being Dende, 2 of them being Broly, and then the rest of just a bunch of them, including the new Toa leader, which is very, very cool. And yes, let's just jump into it. Before I do, real quick, shoutouts to DBS Decks and Corey specifically for inputting these for me. I was going to, and I found it was already done. So big thanks, and it's a big thanks for getting this video out and getting this information. So let's jump into the first one. So we've got Anthony Hernandez with Broly How to Mastery for first place. So real quick qualifier. There's minor controversy in the fact that his deck list that he wrote out had 48 cards, which was caught at the top 16. I'm not sure personally if he got a game loss for it. In my opinion, he definitely should have gotten a game loss for it. Not a match loss, but a game loss for having an incorrect deck list going into top 16. That's what the procedure is. I'm not sure what happened, and I'm not going to try to say what happened without knowing it. What I do know is that the 2 cards that he said were missing were the 2 Mirror Creator Absorbed. And so it was missing from his deck list and his deck going into top 16. So assumedly what happened was that he was told to add 2 cards from his side deck into his main deck. And it was, I believe that was public knowledge, and then went from there. Once again, not sure if he did get a game loss. I would assume so, but I don't have any confirmation for that. But all that aside, this is the deck that he was running for the majority of the tournament. I believe he went completely undefeated match-wise. I know Swiss he went undefeated, and I guess, of course, he went undefeated in the top 16. So, yes, he did go undefeated. It really is the variant of like Height of Mastery Broly that we've been seeing. Specifically with the Masters to get some draw power. There's some additional tech in the sense of Mutata is an important card. This is like the biggest card from the World Martial Art Tournament set, and it really is a shame that's the case because it's such a hard set to get. And I really think that maybe there would have been some more World Martial Arts Tournament if the packs and all the cards were more available. More than they were, at least, just because it's only been out for like a week or two, and it's just such a big set for these events. But this card's super important right now, super relevant. Everyone's trying to cheat out some big boys before they should, and so being able to put them in rest means a lot for this matchup. Additionally, he's running Gine here to support, which is fantastic for filling up your drop, which can be a little bit difficult for this Broly, especially since if you're playing against a matchup where they don't really attack you until they need to, it can be hard to awaken and apply some pressure. So a good card there. He's also running the 2-drop dependable Dynasty Son Goku just to be able to swap into the 3-drop, but also this can still be really aggressive for going into if you don't if you can't get the combo out or victory strike out, you can still just be really aggressive, and assumedly that would be what the mirrors are for, being able to finish it, finish the game with big 20k or not unobtainable double strike swinging in. So cool there. And and then in the side deck, so 2 bad rings, no bad rings in the main, but also 2 minus Coolie Zone, 2 no escapes on Goku. Assumedly that's for the the Ultra Instinct deck, if someone's afraid of that. 2 Time Control Konoha, a Toki Toki, 2 Ten Shinhans for blue decks, of course, 2 Bardock's Fully Unleashed for Broly decks, green Broly decks, and then also these King Piccolo Limitless Power. This Piccolo is fantastic against a deck that does have 4 martial arts tournaments. So if anyone was really afraid of one of those decks coming out, you just have 2 of those in your deck. It's a free 25, maybe 20k double strike, which can mean a lot, especially if Broly can untap it and have it swing again, make it dual attack. So good for pressure, good for removal. I think it's a great side deck card. So overall, super solid build. Nothing super innovative in my opinion. There's definitely like some innovations that happen. Like once again, this like mini aggro package I think is cool, and no doubt he had some games where he was able to just be aggressive and win. But yeah, very very well done. And yeah, if anyone, I really don't know about how the whole 48 cards thing went down. If you know more, put it in the comments and I'll update the description or pin a comment or something. But as far as I know, it all worked out in some way. So next up, the next title. Also, how I'm doing this is I'm doing it how I usually do, where it's based on leader and then kind of comparing it from there. So this next deck is Robert Russo's. He did not get second. I'll show second and announce it when it gets there. But he's got a version of it, and it's a little bit more, I would say, option heavy and potentially less. It's kind of like a mid-range version of it, where I'd say Anthony's version is more aggressive and combo based. This is more kind of like, look how many tech cards this deck has. This is a land of one of. So a single Fearless Assault Krillin to help self-awaken. You wouldn't think that this leader would be awakening, but it needs awakening. But against leaders that don't need to attack to gain value, this card is important. A single King Piccolo in the main, the Madman. I wonder how much. It's really hard to say how much World Martial Arts actually showed up without none really got into top 16, but. It would be interesting to hear from these players how important this card was and how much they really saw. So, 2 Mutata, because this card's great in the mirror and other decks that, once again, just cheat stuff out. He's got an Ultimate Potential Super Saiyan 2 Son Gohan, and he's going for the 2-2 split between Shigesh and Jocko, so this makes a little bit more sense. He's also running Crisis Crusher in the main. I'm not really sure what this would be for. You're not really super concerned about like anything, so I'd be interested to hear why he put that in there. I guess like Kid Goku, but I guess Kid Goku, but nothing super great. There's also Cold Bloodlust and Time Magic. He's only running 2 of 2 compared to Anthony's list, where he ran 4 Cold Bloodlust. So I don't think you really need as much negate. I think I remember seeing some games where they just kind of clogged Anthony's hand, but. I would say that there are a lot of Shenron Gojitas in this deck, in this top 16 spoilers, so I would say, having more negates options for that is relevant in some regards, but there's that, and then 2 minus Killy Zones as well. So I think minus Killy Zone is a really popular card right now because Mutata, it still shuts down Mutata. Mutata gets around Deflect, but not minus Killy Zone. It's really weird how all that works out, but I think this card is going to be slowly just a big old staple for a lot of reasons, and a lot of decks can run Cold Bloodlust right now. So once again, minus Killy Zone is there. In worst case, like it's rarely dead, especially depending on your deck, because like drawing from there is easy. But and then in the side deck, we've got 3 Announcer Play-by-Play Pro. I guess it's also really interesting to say that this King Piccolo can pop your own Master Roshi. And Master Shen, so you still get a free because they just tap themselves and they can just pop it and then get a free 20k double strike. So it's not completely dead in those regards too. Like even worst case, you could probably, if you only had like one of these guys out, you could play Mutata for 1 and then go you still get a 1 energy double strike 20k. So that's still a thing. So but these Announcer Play-by-Play Pros lets you just draw more if you want to dig deeper. 2 Cronoa. Single Crisis Crusher, Haru. I guess there were a couple green and yellow decks, but there weren't, I would say the majority were not. So I wonder, this is a really good side-in for that matchup, but I don't really see as much aggressive winning from this deck, especially since he's not running the Mirror, but I guess he could go side in the Fu the Dark Banisher. This card can be crazy, especially with an extra untap, so you've got 4 swings coming in and they can't negate without dropping another card. So I could see Fu being really dumb with Broly. And then also 2 Trunks Power over Seeing Time, assumedly for the Janemba matchup, just to fetch back a milled Goku. So very nice deck, and go from there. So next up we've got, let's see. Next up we've got, all right, so this is Graham's Gogeta Shenron. There were 5 Shenron decks. 4 of them were Gogeta Shenron, and then 1 was a Hayden Mastery version. But let's jump into this one. So if we don't know how this deck is supposed to function, what you really need to do is you need to get to turn 5 so you can play your Gogeta Hero Revived. And this resets your opponent's hand with a Sparking 10, and assuming they have Sparking 10, assuming you have 1 life to pitch for it. So it has Deflect and Barrier, which is a little oppressive, but you get this. It can get hit by Mutata still, so that's just something to clarify, but really powerful. And then you can give it triple strike with your triple attack with your leader, and also if you have the 4-drop Shenron out, you can use this for giving it crit. So like a big triple attack, triple strike crit, 30k when your opponent has 3 cards in hand is just good. So there's all that. That's the main combo, but there's some other counterplay you can do. At all costs, Vegeta is a fantastic card. Once again, it gives itself triple attack or triple strike, so being able to give it triple attack with your leader is fantastic. He also ran this Purunga here, which was really relevant for wiping big boards, but also like you can just play it for free with World Peace and then use that to draw 2. So never really get a dead card, and just going from there. He ran 6 Dragon Balls and a Super Dragon Ball, which is a bit of a greedy choice, but I think it worked out for him a lot of the time. And he also ran like this blue-yellow package. So the yellow, it seems, was mostly for battering. There's not like a lot of yellow in the main board, so I think, but you see so much from it, so I think that's okay. I think you could kind of fit in some personal ambitions into the side or in the main just for that, just because worst case you can play it for free and then untap an energy, which is great, but and you can cycle with it and it's yellow, so I think that's cool. But because I just feel like only having 6 yellow and then battering, essentially needing to find a yellow to charge and then another yellow to pitch, can be a little bit difficult, but definitely seems like it worked out for him. Real quick, let me see what this 4-drop does. I forgot what it does. It's like Sparking 7, double strike, and you can like blow up something. There. Barrier, double strike, barrier, Sparking 7. When you play this card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards sent to their owner's warp. So I guess it's just for a. It can be card removal, but additionally, it can be great for. It's just a 20k double strike with barrier, which I'd actually thinking about there aren't a lot of those that could abuse this, so I could see this being helpful in that regard. Side deck, he's got 2 Son Goku striving to the best just for aggressive matchups, a battering, a flying Nimbus, or 2 flying Nimbus, and a Mutata. I have no doubt in my mind that if he had more Mutata, I'm assuming that he only has 1, and that if he could find more, he probably could have played it. But that's pure speculation. 2 Maya's Killer Zone because of Mutata. 2 Dangerous Journey Bulma, a Dragon Radar, Time Control Konoha, 2 Crisis Crusher, and a Demigro. Demigro, I can see, is just like a really powerful end game card, but I'd actually be interested to see what he sides this into. Getting to turn 5 is pretty steep, and then also if you play this, you don't have your Dragon Balls in your drop area to do that. So, but yeah, really, really strong deck. And it's really interesting to see that this deck show up as much as it did this week. So I wonder if it doesn't really look like it got a lot of support from. Once again, this card has like one card. It's strictly Mutata, right? Nothing. If you can have it, none of the other versions that I saw had anything newer than set 6. Besides this Mutata here, as well for the blue-yellow variants. But yeah, it's really interesting to see that this just kind of popped up again this weekend, and I think a lot of people were kind of calling it out as a thing that happened, or that as a deck to watch out for, and yeah, it looks like a lot of people claim that correctly for this week. So very, very interesting there, and not something I expected. So I'm happy I can be humbled a little bit. So let's go next to Giovanni's. So this is his version. It's mono blue. And the one neat tech card that I saw was Energy Barrage Frieza. I think this is a really, really smart call. Since you're using Objection or World Peace and all that, it's really easy to play World Peace on turn 3, quote unquote, and then being able to play this Energy Barrage Frieza to blow up anything, or blow up something with barrier. So you can just play this and get out a pop their Path to Greatness, and then they're kind of just a little bit, awkward situation there, right? What do I do now? I can't have my 3-drop. I'd have to Shugesh it out to be able to go off next turn. So I think that was a really smart play, and I bet he caught a lot of people by surprise this past weekend using it. So I think that's a great call for that. He's got, and other than that, nothing too super duper fancy. Running strictly Dragon Balls, 4 objections. I guess 3 Senzu Beans is the meta now, right? Some Crisis Crusher, some Time Control, Dufam Paronga, and also he's running the Vegeta Permanent Mater, which is great for blowing up boards, just another version of Newfound Power Paronga. So that's very powerful. Looking at the side deck, he's got a single Burnished Bonds Borgos, some Mufubas, another Vegeta, 2 more Energy Barrage Frieza, which once again I think I'd be interested to see how much he used it, how much he was able to catch the thing by surprise just by dropping this Energy Barrage Frieza. So and then just a bunch of another Bulma. He's had one in the main already, a Kami, a Cronoa, 4 Mercenary Tau, dang, and then 2 Crisis Crusher. I could see hand control. I don't know. I feel like you're getting a lot of hand advantage in these decks, but maybe he's not running a super greedy version because there's no Dragon Radar and stuff like that. So I could see him kind of having a hard time against Slug and that kind of stuff. And guess what? There was a Slug in top 16. Spoilers. So I don't know if 4 is too many, but it definitely worked out for him. So let's go next to CJ's. So he's running a blue-yellow version, and he's got some really interesting Goku and Vegeta choices here. He's not running any of the 5-drop Gogeta. He's strictly running the 7-drop. And then also these guys. I'm going to pop over there just to make sure I know what these guys actually do. Let's go. All right, so there's a Determined Strike. So counterattack. When activating this card's counter, if you have 3 or less life, you may place 2 sand cards from your hand to drop area. If you do so, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 3 for duration of the turn. So it's just another negate if you really need it. Other than that, it's nothing too fancy. And then also there's the Vegeta testing his limit. So it's a blocker, double strike barrier, and it's minus 5k during your turn. And then auto, once per turn burst when this card attacks, switch this card to active mode. So it's essentially a dual attack. Double strike barrier, so I could see he would be able to be flexible with your giving it triple attack. So you'd be able to have 4 swings with 4 20k swings with a barrier dude. I could see that being really relevant and being alternate win condition, akin to at all cost Vegeta. So worst case, he's just a yellow card, and he goes from there. My assumption is that he would run Mutata if he had any, but once again, Mutato's super hard to find right now. I only have 1 myself, and I opened 8 packs for it, so it's definitely a rare card to find. So I don't fault anyone for not having it. And then also from there, nothing too out of the ordinary. He's got a 1-star ball, which I think can be great for. If you're using hand control kind of tactics, especially with Dragon Radar, you can use that you can recycle it and get stuff back. But I think some of the other things is that you can sometimes have a hard time getting your desires into your drop area before awakening. So just being able to guarantee that is also fantastic. In the side, he's running 2 Mafuba, 2 Badring. I'm actually surprised Badwing's not in the main. I would imagine at least I would put 1 in there, especially since he's running way more yellow than previous. Giovanni? I think it was Graham. Graham was running. So And then also 2 Godly Destruction Whis, which can be good. 2 Kami, 2 Power Burst. Yeah, Kami makes sense if you're, especially when you're not running Porunga. They're both essentially 3 energy board wipes, so there's that. And then 2 Chronoa, and then 2 Crisis Crusher Goku. So there is that. And then let's go to Michael, who's also running a blue-yellow variant. Oh, man, a lot of these people... I felt I probably should have done a better job at looking at the interesting cards, because he's playing, I think it's like a burst and it blows up something. Let's Belmont do. So Barrier Double Strike. When you play this card, look at the top 3 cards from your deck. Choose up to 1 card among them, add them to your hand, then place the rest in your drop area. If you choose not to add any cards to your hand, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO it. So it's either, look at the top 3 and find something, or blow up something. So I could see both of those being really valuable for this deck, especially since it can be world pieced out. Additionally, it can be good for just like another like Barrier Double Strike that can get Shenron for just a win condition. So that looks like it can be really important. But other than that, let's see. So he's also running the Determined Strike Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. He's got his hand on some Mutata, so he's running 3 in the main, which is I'd say like probably 2 in the main is good enough, especially with a deck that has so much cycle like this one. But 3, you probably hit a lot of these this weekend. 2 Porunga, 2 Shenron, and also 2 of the Bardock Fully Unleashed. Must be super afraid of this, but also like if this goes off and then you can just give it triple strike, then you have a 25k triple attack, triple strike with Shenron. Actually, you can't because it's overrun. Never mind. I'm stupid. Don't listen to me. But so just a relevant card in that regard. And then that looks about it. 2 Batarangs, 4 whole Nimbus in the main. I think that's a little bit too much. I think their better negates are, this one can be running 4. I think it can be really cloggy in your hand, but it worked out for him. In the side, there's 2 Whis Coercion, a Super 17. Once again, just an alternate win condition to use with your leader. Being able to have some some double strikes that 3 double strikes that can't be negated can just win the game in itself, especially making them drop 2, and there's no doubt dead cards in your hand that you can drop with this, like some extra Nimbus or objections. So is that working out for him? Some Dangerous Journey Bulma for the mill matchup, a single Dragon Radar, some Kami, some Chronoa, and some Crisis Crusher. So there is that. This one's really interesting. This Belmont, just a lot of really neat tech cards that are being shown, and I think that's really a sign of a really cool meta we're in right now. So and then we've got the Height of Mastery version. Also, I'm going to sneak in the Porunga version just because they're for all intents and purposes they're more or less the same. And this is my video, so I'm doing it that way. So the Shenron version, compared to the Broly version, some key differences is that your win condition is to use World Peace on turn 4 after already having Son Goku Path to Greatness already out. Essentially what you do starting for turn 3 is you play Son Goku Path to Greatness turn 3, use your free desire on a personal ambition to untap 1 just to make sure you have stuff, and then turn 4 you use World Peace to get out Explore Bulma, turn 4 you swap into Height of Mastery, then you use World Peace to get Bulma out, swap out or untap 2 energy, draw a card, and then you can go into Awaken Power and then still have an extra energy open for some shenanigans. So such as like a battering laser if they're playing Mafuba, or just battering laser. So there's all that, or even like if you really need to win this turn, you can use like one of the energy for like Universe 7 representative to try to find it. So Shenron's just really great at looking through cards, like Wish decks in general, since they're pretty much 7 cards shorter than most decks, and then additionally there's so much hand advantage. So great call there. Other than that, nothing too out of the ordinary from there. 2 Bardock Fully Unleashed in the main, which is really interesting to see people run this in the main. I don't think Green Broly was Green Broly has been on the decline since just over the last couple months, and which I'm not super surprised about. I think it's something that once people kind of figure out how to play the deck and play around it and against it, I think that was really going to happen anyways. So, but we've got, but in the side deck here, we've got also 2 King Piccolo Limitless Power, 2 Clan of Terror Mecha Frieza. Really interesting choice. Just another world peace target, which I think is cool and fun. And then a minus Killy Zone. He's got 2 in the main, so I think one of the side's fine. 2 Bulma for the mill matchup, a single Dragon Radar to pair with the 1 there. 2 Cronoa, 2 Newfound Power Porunga, and then 3 Wish to Porunga, which I think you have to choose 2 cards at the same power level, ignoring Barrier, and then shuffle everything else back into their decks and draw 5. So for both players, right? Yeah, if your leader card is a Black Shenron card, choose one of your and your opponent's battle cards with equal energy cost, ignoring Barrier. Choose all other battle cards you control and all other battle cards your opponent controls, ignoring Barrier, and your opponent's hand. Shuffle them in your deck, then you and your opponent draw to 5. I think you and your opponents, yeah. Okay, you and your opponents, yeah. So both, it's kind of like a Xeno kind of thing, but very controlling deck, and I can see that being good in the mirror. So there is that one, and then we're going next to let's see, William Hicks and Porunga, and also shoutouts to Brandon Bowling and Ivo for this deck was like the Porunga as a viable Height of Mastery Victory Strike leader was theorized and tried out a couple weeks ago, so I think it's still a really viable option. The key differences to Shenron is that you don't need to have world peace to go off. It's just important to have you can still run world peace to do some fancy stuff, but it's not a necessity. Which means it's just 1 less card to worry about in that regard. So that can be good. And then yeah, that's pretty much it really. But something he did, so he ran 2 Dragon Ball Seeker Sorbet just to make sure that you're awakened faster. Some Dragon Balls. No 1-star ball or Super Dragon Ball, so that's important. Some Bulma is necessary for this. The biggest thing about this too is that Bulma isn't since it untaps too. Even if they have a Whis out, you're still fine because they just get rid of 1 energy. You still have 2, so there's that. Other than that, nothing else really. Some Universe 7 representative just to make sure you find it. A single Crusher Ball, not really, just I guess a tech option there. 4 Flying Nimbus. I don't think Flying Nimbus needs to be like a strong negate like this. I don't think it needs to be run as 4. I think it can be really good for side, but I don't think 4 and I think you can get away with like 4 or 5 negates right now. So I feel like this can be dead in your hand a lot of the time. So let's look at the side. So 2 Battering Laser. I don't think it needs to be in the main, but it can be really important there. A single minus Killy Zone. I think he should have bumped it up and maybe even included it in the main. I would have probably taken out 2 Nimbus for 2 minus Killy Zone, and then put like another Nimbus in the side. Maybe that's something to think about. And then let's see. So 2 Battering, 2 Fearless Assault Krillin. 2 Vegeta striving to be the best. I guess that pairs with Crusher Ball are, yeah, I guess that could work. And then also, a Kami, a Cronoa, 2 Mercenary Tau, 2 Shinhan, and 2 Bardock fully unleashed. So just generic counter cards. I'm gonna say it halfway through this really long video. I'm not the best at making sideboards. I'd say it's something that I'd have to work on the most. So I don't know if I wouldn't be a great source for deciding how good a sideboard is, but I would say this seems pretty standard, but no big money targets, right? Nothing, no really strong, I guess, like niche counters, I guess, right? Just a lot of generic stuff. So next up, I'm not putting William Hicks on blast. That's just like a monologue. It's really late. I'm just going to switch to Joey's deck. So he's got his only skillless Goku in top 16. This deck is seeing skillless is kind of doing the same thing that I feel like Green Broly is doing. Is just like people are figuring out how to play against it and around it, and the counters to it are pretty easy and kind of universally good anyway. So But I feel like this was a really cool meta call, and I think it got like a lot of value from it. So let's go into it. So some key points. One, he's only running 3 4-star ball. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. So that's really interesting to see that. In comparison, he's running 3 Dende and still the 4 Son Goku Adventure Begins. So he's still technically running enough for like he's running 10. So he's not like not running enough, but a lot of his 4-star balls require 1 energy investment. If you look at it that way. Also, weird thing that was brought up when I was watching his game. I don't know why these are Dendes and not Sorbets. Sorbets have 5k power, which is like slightly better. It's a small pick, but that's something I think that's the only thing to say. But these can be Sorbets, I think, and they'd be like slightly better. But other than that, he ran this yellow package just for I think Mutata is just a really great card. And this deck can, abuse being able to kind of leave energy open and have kind of like this counterplay stuff. So being able to run that, I think, probably stopped a lot of these decks. Like, if you saw all the decks I just talked about, all of them have this big 7 or 8 drop, boss monster that are getting out on turn like 4 or 5. So Mutata just being able to like stun them and do that is fantastic, and does just a lot. So there is that. Other than that, nothing. So he's running 2. It's weird that he's only running. So he's running 6 vanilla cards. I feel like this deck list is really tight. It needs to really find what it is, and it's weird to see 2 Super Saiyan Vegetas. Sorry. There's also Tin Shinhan. Sorry. So there's more. I blanked. I'm silly. So that's a really good ratio then, especially with these training burning Krillin, having 3 of these to the 5 targets and drop for that. So I think that's acceptable. What else is there? Debenture Banisher Fu in the main is interesting. I think it's a good call. And then other than that, nothing too crazy. Just can be really aggressive with Fearless Assault Krillin, and I think just put a lot of pressure from there. So in the side, we've got a single Godstrike Beerus, a single Battering. It's interesting not to see Battering in the main. I'd say that might be one of the reasons I would run it, just so I would be able to get a guaranteed 30k swing in. But there's that. Also, sorry, I didn't talk about Source of Power Son Goku. This guy can be really great for Self-Awakening. Kid-Ku really likes to kind of sit on their life a lot, so it's not like a big investment, but just being able to untap and swing again with this guy can be powerful. So I think that was a cool call there. But continuing, so 2 Myasculi Zone, because once again, everyone should be running Myasculi Zone right now. A single Power Burst to bring up to 4. 2 Cronoa, because Shugesh is a thing right now. 3 Haru Haru. 2 Masan Mysterious Warrior. 2 Food Dark Banisher. Ooh, love Food Dark Banisher. So I think that can be really aggressive. And then a single Beyond Darkness Demigra, just because you run a lot of black and you can just get this guy out for free. So I think it's great. I think it's the right call in the side, not the main. There are a lot of decks that you're playing against right now that getting to 5 energy is a super lofty ideal. Super lofty idea, so I don't think it deserves a main deck spot, but in the side it's fantastic. So and then from here we've got the yellow. Joey got 3rd. I believe the Haida Mastery Shenron got 4th. That the Sammy Martinez list. So I could be wrong about that. Let me know if I am. But we've got 3 Dende. I guess the name has been changed from Frieza Dende to Trader Dende. I don't know when that occurred, but that's the world we live in right now. So we've got Danny, we've got Daehan, and we've got Connor Woods. So a lot of these are running really similar cards with just minor ratios, but let's go into it. The idea for this deck is to just abuse the power of Revival of the Emperor and use that to just get a bunch of value, destroy their hand without deciding to deciding which cards in their hand to destroy, which is fantastic, and just be kind of aggressive and really just counter all their plays. So a really cool deck. It's been kicking around since Danny played it. Back in March? Yeah, I think it's March. So really resilient deck as well. Really cool. Anti-meta deck that's just floating around right now. So You've got all these freezes that you can play. One of them searches your opponent's hand, plays a card from it. One of them goes into the 7-drop, which can just wipe a board. This one can just KO some stuff and just be an annoying double strike dual attack. And so just a lot of flexibility. This 1-drop Frieza is good for getting specific cards into your drop area, so you can use Revival of the Emperor correctly. Then there's also Surprise Deck Frieza, which is just a big old crit, and you're KOing stuff anyways, so you can get it out for free also. There's also 5 Dragon Balls and 2 1-star balls, so 1-star ball is really good for being annoying, and then also just putting desires into your drop area, which you can get back with your leader. And then also a new card, Fu the Dark Banisher. Fu is like the best card that I know of from the anniversary box. It's just really versatile, and it's just like an alternate win condition. You're already messing with so much hand control anyways that having just like a bunch of big boy attacks that can also, if they try and negate, they have to discard a card, can just finish the game for you. So I really think this is a good call here, and it's really relevant. So there's that, and then inside we've got a single Battering. I don't think Battering's super needed, so I think 1 in the side is fine. A Flying Nimbus, 2 Krillin ability unleashed. If you don't know what this card does, is you choose 2 cards from your opponent's drop area that are non-black and put them back into your deck, and then if you do, you draw 1, which I guess this can be good for making sure they don't have their sparking, or if they're setting up their drop area. I think this can be a really cool card, because if you're playing against like Piranga Hydra Mastery or Shenron, you've got cards that you're trying to get World Peace, and then if you just use Krillin to get rid of them, they're just like, oh shoot, I can't go off anymore. That's great. So there's that. 3 more Dangerous Journey Bulma, and then also a Heavenly Wizard Demigra, a Crisis Crusher, 2 Tien Shinhan, 2 Bardock Fully Unleashed, and a Fu the Dark Banisher. I'd really like to see 2 be fit in there, but I can see how it can be kind of dead sometimes. So I'd almost say that Fu, I'd run 2 Fu instead of a single Demigra. I feel like this can just be enough as it is, but because getting to turn 5 can be hard sometimes. But really do dig it, and really great deck. I really need to play this deck more. I have most of the cards now, so there's that. Next is Daehan. Very similar build. I probably shouldn't have deleted that. There we go. So big differences here is that he ran 1 more Golden Frieza, 1 more Dangerous Journey. What cards is he not running that he's running? He's not running any Kami, and I think that's about it. He's also not running Flying Nimbus either. So other than that, it looks pretty comparable. There's not like most of the cards. I'd say this deck is pretty solid. On the cards you want to include, you just have to choose which ratios. So, but yeah, it looks really similar in that regard. And then in the side deck is pretty different. I'm really interested to see why neither of these players ran Mutata. I'd be interested to know if it was they didn't think it was good versus they didn't think that they needed to, or if they just simply didn't have it. But because I feel like it fit pretty naturally into this deck. And it'd be good for just stopping their plays even more. But oh, sorry, I just missed it. Daehan has 2 in his side deck. I don't know why Danny didn't run any. And he's got 2 there too. But we've got two of those, which I think is a great call. 2 Vegeta striving to be the best. Frieza back from hell. 2 Dangerous Journey Bulma. 2 Kami. 3 Heavenly Wizard Demigra, and a Crisis Crusher Son Goku. So yeah, some very. So he's afraid of Mill, of course. Wish leaders, especially burst wish leaders, are understandably worried about that. Some Heavenly Wizard Demigra for Broly. And what does Frieza back to hell do again? I remember he ran 1 here. I just want to make sure I get it correct. All right, so permanent. You can only have 1 of these out. Once per turn, active main. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and ignore barrier. It can't switch to active mode until the start of your next turn. Also, active main once per turn is sparking 7. If your opponent has 7 more cards in rest mode, if your later card is a yellow Shenron card and this card's in rest mode, deal 1 damage to your opponent. So this can just be good for just pinging an extra life when your opponent doesn't expect it. So I could see that being powerful. I'm not sure if it's main deck powerful, such as let's see, Connor did. But just more options can be great. Revival of the Emperor finds a Frieza with energy cost of 4 or less, so you can just get 3-drop out if you need to. And you can also find with the 1-drop. What else from here? He fit 2 of the Dark Banisher. I think that's the correct. That's the cool call. I'm not sure if it's the correct call, but I think that's a great choice. He's only running 1 of the Golden Frieza though. I'd be interested to see how much thieves were able to resolve this weekend, and how powerful they really were. Like, of course, they can be fantastic in that regard, but I feel like it can be, I don't know, sometimes not worth getting him out. But I digress. So there is all of that. In the side, he does have the 2 Mutata, 2 Kami, 2 Kronoa, 2 Mercenary Tau, 2 Tenshin Han, 2 Crisis Crusher, and 3 Haru Haru. So just like all of like the generic black counter cards, so not the worst sideboard to say the least. So and I think that's it for these 3. So let's go into the one-ofs that are left. So first we're going to go into this Toa deck. Very, very hype. A lot of people are really hyped for this. I think rightfully so. It's really interesting to see. A lot of people are saying this leader was terrible. And I'd say my stance on it was I think it has a correct build, but I don't know what it is. And in general, like this is like supposed to be like an anti-meta deck, so I didn't know what the meta was, and so without knowing that, it's hard to tune it correctly for the meta. But Thomas Henry definitely did. I believe he placed 7th. So if you don't know what this leader does, you activate once per turn, burst 3. Look for the top 5 for a Mira or or Scientist Fu, and then if you have 10 cards in your drop or 10 black cards in your warp, activate this card, send it to you flip it over, draw 1, and then I'm so tired. You draw 1, untap 1 energy, and then the Awaken side. People are really don't know how good the Awaken side is because it doesn't draw 1 on Awakening, doesn't draw 1 inherently. It has 2 effects. One is that it gives crit to a mirror on your field and also returns 3 black cards from your warp to your drop. And then also active battle for 1, discard 1 card. Remove a keyword skill from your opponent's battle cards, so you can remove barrier and then you can pop something and just be really snarky about it. Or you can steal something with Toa, which I think could be just another choice there. So just gives you a lot of options, could be really flexible. This is why I think it's an anti-meta card. I just don't know what the meta was, so there we go. Other than that, just a really solid card, and that's all I really think I have to say about that. And then the main deck, what you want to try to do is you want to try to get the 7-drop mirror out, and you can do that with either the 5-drop mirror, which can become a 4-drop, or this 3-drop Dark Absorption mirror, which you then use 4 energy for. So being able to get this out with its Union Absorb means that you get to pitch 3 cards from your opponent's hand. It sends them to the warp, and since it's warp, you don't even get like Mercenary Tau out. Not that you can get, you have to play Mercenary Tau for 2 energy also, because this is a black leader. So all of that put aside, it just can be just a lot of control and that kind of stuff. So other than that, you just play a bunch of Overwhelm, and then you abuse the Vegeta Time Regulator to do that. So it's going to be interesting to see if more Toa decks come out after this. It's going to be hard because everyone needs these Vegetas, and they're really scarce right now just because the championship pack just got released. So over the next couple weeks, this deck will be more viable just because these will go down just as more events come out with this being a card available. So there's that. But other than that, I think it's just a cool deck, and I'm happy it did so well. So in the side, there were 3 dark power Black Mass Stain, which I think is correct, just because you need some sort of awakening sometimes, just for further card draw. Then 2 Heavenly Wizard Demigra, 3 Crisis Crusher, 2 Haru Haru, 3 Tenshin Han Returning Fire, a Mass Sand, the Mysterious Warrior, and a Fu the Dark Banisher. I'm surprised the Fu Dark Banisher didn't get into the main, but also no Demigra, but I guess you don't get to turn 5. I don't know. He got top 16. He did really well. So there's that one. Let's go next. We've got Slug. Slug has been a deck that I've been saying for a really long time is like on the fringe of being meta relevant, and then I felt like Fu, Dark Banisher, could help it get to the end, and I guess that's what happened. I'm gonna assume that's what happened. So, Fu being able to just rip cards out of their hand and just be like really oppressive and make them not want to run negates or use negates, is just great and can just do a lot for you. Other than that, just a really standard Slug package. Crisis Crusher is an interesting choice. I'm really not sure why it's used. I guess Kid Goku can be a hard matchup sometimes. But other than that, just really standard. Just be annoying with Slug and win with crit and stuff. So and make everyone feel validated for having Mercenary Tower in their side deck. So and then in this side deck we've got another Father Son Kamehameha, Shocking Death Ball. Some Dark Power Black Mass Sands, some Cronoas, some Heavenly Wizard, some Mercenary Tau for the Mirror Match, Bardox, and Mass Sands for Kid Ku and Green Broly alike. So I wish I had more to say about this, but I feel like this is a really standard put all the archetype cards in, and then I think Fu is a great tech, and I bet Crisis Crusher was somewhat helpful against Kid Gokus and stuff, but I don't know. I don't have much more to say about this. So good job to Tommy Morillo. I don't think I said your name. Next up, we've got not Mira. We've got Pan. Pan is back. Another top 16 finished. We haven't seen a top 16 Pan for a while, so it's cool to see that. It got some support. I'd say like this Trunk Surge of Energy is one of the better cards from the anniversary set, but also this Bardock Awakened Instinct. I don't know if you guys know what Graceful Charity is, but it's a good card, and Bardock is really good at that. So you play this Overwhelm for I think it's like 3 or 4. It's probably 4, and then you get to draw 2 and then pitch 1. I believe is what. Let me make sure. I'm gonna make sure real quick. We're approaching Sleepy Time Eggman, and so let's see. Yeah, so he draws 2, then choose 1 card, place in your drop pair. It's not even Warp. I think it should have been Warp, but Drop is just amazing. And so if you have Pan, you just play this card, and so for 0 energy, you get to look at the top 3 cards in your hand and in your deck, and then pitch 1. So that is fantastic. I think that's a really good call. And then what else? So it's just this Trunk Surge of Energy is a fantastic card for 2 reasons. One, you play it for 2, and then you get to draw 2 cards. So 2 energy, draw 2 is great, and it's still Trunks GT, and so you can chain attack into it if you need to, like in an emergency situation. So that's great. And then I think everything else is pretty standard. Going kind of aggressive with the 4 Zenos, but I get it. I think it needs to be 4 because you need to make sure that you can get this out and find their pieces when you need to. So I think there's a lot of cycle with this Bardock that it's really easy to find it, especially since once again it takes no energy to do it. So there's that. So doing a turn 3 Zeno is ideal, and then also some minus Killy Zone in the main. It's super relevant for a combination of just like cool Bloodlust and that kind of stuff. So I think that's important. And other than that, a couple win conditions I see is like this Vegeta Agent of Destruction can be great for finishing the game. Surprise Attack Frieza is a cool tech card just for I think there's like enough card destruction that's relevant. Fearless Pan can give a bunch of things double strike, and also like this Fu Dark Banisher is just a great card, and I love it's a great finisher. So and then on the side, we've got Maya's Killy Zone, some Supreme Kai of Time, some Cronoa, some Mercenary Tau, some Haru, some Shinhan, and another Fu Dark Banisher. I'd be interested to see if they were interested in like the new Red Gohan from the World Tournament, like from the Championship Pack, just because you can play it and like it has a negate and that kind of stuff. But I think it looks like he did fine without it. So props to him, and there we go. And then the best for last, we've got a Mill deck. Oh yeah, what a I don't know, I'm not trying to make fun of the guy, but we've got Abno with Mill Janimba. Just once again, just a meta staple. I'd be more shocked that if there wasn't a Mill than seeing one. So I think it's starting to wane a little bit. Mill, I think, is just a really great gatekeeper deck for this meta, but I don't think it's the best in any regard. But there's some cool tech options that I see here, like Godstrike Beerus in the main is, I think, a fantastic call. But other than that, actually, there's just like not a lot you can do. Like, this deck really just builds itself, and you just have to pick your ratios. But it's still just a really great, force to be reckoned with. It's interesting to see this Digging Deep Vegeta in the side. I guess you're running enough red that you can put it out there. So that's interesting. It's just like a way to also like awaken when you need to. Also, these Sneak Attack Vegetas in the side. So some really interesting side deck choices. Some Mercenary Town because you really have to in this deck. Some Crisis Crusher, and also some Trunks Power Overseeing Time. And then that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm done. I did it. It's been like 50 minutes, probably way too long, and I'm definitely the props to you for getting all this way, because I'm clearly tired and made a lot of flubs towards the end. But that's the event. Really great to see all this diversity, a lot of cool decks. Some quick stats once again. So there are 4 How to Mastery decks, 4 Shenron Gogeta decks, 3 Trader Dende, and then the other 5 were just a random mismatch. So I think that's cool to see. There are also 9 Wish decks and 7 non-Wish decks. So if you want that kind of stats, it's cool that it's almost balanced in that regard. So cool for that. I think that's about it. I've got to say for this event. So I really wish I could have gone. I did have my invite, but I just couldn't get all out there. So that's a little bit too bad. But I'm not too bummed about it. There will be other events. And yeah, that's going to be it for me. Let me know what you guys think about it. And I'll catch you all next time.